mood, even how clearly you think. I once had a patient over 60 tell me, "Doctor, I eat breakfast, but just half an hour later I feel drained, like I could collapse." Sounds familiar? Maybe you've felt the same way yourself. The surprising thing is the real culprit often hides inside foods that seem harmless, even foods advertised as healthy. In reality, some of them quietly speed up aging mess with your blood sugar, weaken your memory, and drain your muscles. But the good news is, from that very same breakfast table, we can also choose simple natural foods that lift us up, nourish the brain, and keep the body strong. In this video, I want to show you 6 common breakfast foods that are silently harming people over 50, and 6 others that can be your natural medicine every morning. Let me ask you, are you eating out of habit, or are you eating to truly live well? The first food I want to talk about is probably something familiar in many Vietnamese homes: white bread with margarine and sweet jam. Sounds simple, quick, even nostalgic, but sadly it's one of the most silent enemies for people over 50. I remember one patient telling me, "I love bread with jam, I have it every morning. But lately I feel tired, dizzy, and my memory isn't what it used to be." When we checked her health, her blood sugar was swinging up and down and silent inflammation was rising in her body. The culprit, that very slice of white bread she thought was harmless. Think about it. White bread is just refined starch stripped of fiber and minerals. Eat it and your blood sugar spikes as if you drank a can of soda. Margarine, that industrial vegetable spread, is full of inflammatory oils that hurt your blood vessels. And the jam, just pure refined sugar, raising your risk of diabetes and memory decline. Studies show that older adults who eat this kind of breakfast regularly have almost 50% higher risk of cognitive decline compared to those who avoid it. Sometimes the most familiar foods deserve a second look. Are they really nourishing us or quietly draining our health? Next, let's talk about another so-called healthy breakfast: instant oatmeal packets. Sounds wholesome, convenient, even heart-friendly. But the truth, very different. Imagine this: whole oats get crushed, processed, and loaded with sugar, even maltodextrin. By the time you eat it, your body absorbs it so fast that your blood sugar spikes, just like drinking a soda first thing in the morning. Then within 1 or 2 hours it crashes down, leaving you shaky, tired, and hungry all over again. One of my patients once asked, "Why do I eat oatmeal for breakfast, but feel starving just a couple hours later?" Blood tests showed her sugar levels were swinging wildly, exactly like a roller coaster, caused by instant oats. For people over 50 already more sensitive to insulin, this swing doesn't just bring fatigue, it opens the door to prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. Research shows that high glycemic breakfasts can raise inflammation markers in the body by almost 50%, lasting for hours after the meal. So if you love oats, my advice is go back to basics. Use whole oats, soak them overnight, cook them slowly, and skip the added sugar. That small change alone can give you steady energy instead of draining highs and lows. And then there's flavored yogurt. Those cute little cups with strawberries or blueberries on the label look so tempting, right? But inside a sugar bomb, often with more sugar than a candy bar. Add in artificial flavors, thickeners, even coloring, and instead of feeding your gut with probiotics, you're feeding your body with sugar and inflammation. I remember a 55-year-old woman who ate low-fat strawberry yogurt every morning, yet she kept complaining of joint pain, bloating, and memory issues. When we looked closely, her low-fat yogurt was actually packed with sugar to cover the taste. That very choice was triggering inflammation and digestive trouble. Science tells us for older adults, a daily sugar-loaded breakfast increases the risk of muscle loss and cognitive decline. No wonder so many people say, "After breakfast, my head feels heavy, I can't focus." So if you love yogurt, go for plain Greek yogurt, unsweetened. Add your own fresh fruit, maybe a sprinkle of cinnamon. That way you get the protein and probiotics without the hidden sugar trap. And of course, we can't forget ready-to-eat cereals. those colorful boxes many families reach for in the morning, advertised as high-fiber, multi-grain, vitamin-enriched. But behind the packaging, most of them are refined grains, highly processed, loaded with sugar corn syrup or artificial sweeteners. Some are sweeter than candy. You think you're starting the day healthy, but your body is actually fighting through a sugar storm. I once worked with a man in his 60s who had this morning ritual: pour a bowl of cereal, add milk, and think he was having a healthy breakfast. But after a few years, his waistline got bigger, belly fat built up, and his risk of diabetes went way up. Lab results confirmed exactly what research says. Older adults who regularly eat processed breakfast cereals have a 20% higher risk of type 2 diabetes, and they tend to store a lot more belly fat. Now, here's the real problem. Belly fat isn't just about looks. It's the dangerous kind of fat. It releases inflammatory chemicals, damages muscles and blood vessels, and raises the risk of stroke. So the next time you pick up that colorful cereal box at the supermarket, ask yourself, is this really nourishing my body, or just candy in disguise? Moving on. Let's talk about another so-called healthy breakfast option: boxed or bottled fruit juice. The packaging shows juicy oranges, bright grapes, crisp apples. It makes you feel like you're drinking pure nature, but in reality, what you're drinking most mornings is just liquid sugar. Think about it. Once the fruit is juiced and processed, almost all the fiber is gone. What's left is mostly water-flavoring preservatives and a big load of fructose sugar. That sugar hits the liver hard, and over time, it builds up as fat in the liver. I've seen so many patients over 55 who proudly say, "Oh, I don't drink soda, I only drink fresh orange juice every morning." But when we checked their blood tests, their triglycerides were high, blood sugar was unstable, and early signs of fatty liver were already there. One international study even showed this: older adults who drink boxed juice regularly gain weight and belly fat faster. But those who eat whole fruit instead, they actually lose weight, improve blood sugar, and boost digestion. That's why I always say, instead of reaching for a sugary juice box, just peel a fresh orange and eat the slices, fiber and all. That tiny change could be the difference between disease and health. And speaking of convenience, let's not forget about deli meats, sausages, or ham. A lot of people think they're a quick protein-packed breakfast option with bread. But that convenience comes with serious health risks, especially for people over 50. Here's the thing: most processed meats are loaded with salt, plus nitrites and nitrates, chemicals that preserve color and flavor. The problem is those same chemicals raise blood pressure, strain the kidneys, and are even linked to digestive cancers. I remember a 62-year-old patient who got into the habit of eating sausages every morning, just to mix things up, he said. But within a few years, his blood pressure crept higher and higher until his cardiologist had to put him on medication and warn him about his stroke risk. The truth is, as we age, our bodies can't handle these additives the way they used to. Regularly eating deli meats and sausages puts extra stress on the liver, kidneys, and heart. Studies back this up. Daily consumption of processed meat increases the risk of heart disease and even early death in adults over 50. So here's the takeaway: sometimes what feels quick and easy is actually what slows us down in the long run. That's when we need to pause and ask, am I eating out of habit, or am I eating for long-term health? And now, after walking through 6 silent enemies at the breakfast table, let's move into a more positive space. Because the good news is, there are also simple, delicious foods that can become true allies for aging well. Foods that support your body, keep your mind sharp, muscles strong, and heart healthy. The first one I want to introduce is chia seed pudding. You might have heard of chia seeds, but not many people actually try making this dish in the morning. Here's the trick: take just 2 spoonfuls of chia seeds, soak them overnight in almond milk or coconut milk. By morning, you've got a soft, natural pudding that's easy to eat and surprisingly powerful. packed with fiber to stabilize blood sugar and omega-3s that fight inflammation and nourish your brain. I had a 58-year-old patient with mild diabetes who always felt tired no matter what she ate for breakfast. I suggested she try chia pudding topped with a few slices of fresh strawberry. 2 months later, she came back smiling. Every morning now I feel light, no more sugar crashes, no more hunger pangs before noon. Science confirms it too. Diets rich in fiber and omega-3s improve insulin sensitivity, protect against muscle loss, and boost memory in older adults. Sometimes staying healthy isn't about complicated supplements. It's as simple as a glass of chia pudding at breakfast. Next, let's talk about something that might surprise you: beet smoothies. In Vietnam, beets are often just used in soups, but for people over 50, they can be a real key to better circulation endurance and mental clarity. Here's why: as we age, blood vessels stiffen, circulation slows, and the brain and muscles get less oxygen. That's why you feel tired or foggy. But beets are rich in natural nitrates, which convert into nitric oxide, basically a natural blood vessel relaxer. It improves blood flow so oxygen and nutrients reach the brain and muscles more efficiently. I remember a man in his mid-60s who avoided exercise because he got out of breath just walking a few hundred meters. After adding beet smoothies to his breakfast routine just a few weeks later, he told me, "Now I can walk laps around the park without gasping for air. I feel sharper too." That's not magic, that's science. Studies show beet juice can improve endurance in older adults by more than 20%. It's simple to make too: blend half a cooked beet with a little water, add some lemon or a few berries for taste. The earthy flavor balances out, and you get a delicious drink that's basically natural medicine for your blood vessels and brain. And then, of course, there are eggs. But not just any eggs. I'm talking about free-range eggs from chickens that roam and eat naturally, not factory-farmed ones. You know, for people over 50, protein in the morning is like liquid gold for keeping our muscles strong. Muscles aren't just about walking steadily, they're like a reservoir of energy, the foundation of independence as we age. And one simple free-range egg can give us high-quality, easy-to-absorb protein, along with vitamin D, omega-3s, and choline nutrients that feed our memory and protect the brain from shrinking with age. I once had a 62-year-old lady who was worried that eating eggs would raise her cholesterol. After I explained and encouraged her to try free-range eggs, just boiled or lightly pan-fried with olive oil, the results, after 3 months, surprised both of us. Her bad cholesterol didn't go up at all, but her muscle strength, memory, and energy levels all improved significantly. Science also confirms this: older adults who get at least 25 grams of protein at breakfast hold on to over 40% more muscle compared to those who start their day with just carbs. And free-range eggs are one of the simplest, most affordable, yet powerful ways to do that. So don't hesitate to place a boiled egg or a warm, sunny-side-up egg on your breakfast plate. Sometimes the simplest habit can be the small key that helps you stay strong and sharp for many years to come. Now let me tell you about a tiny fruit that carries an incredible power: wild blueberries. And I don't mean the big shiny supermarket blueberries. Wild ones are smaller, darker, and packed with far more nutrients. Have you ever noticed your memory isn't as sharp as before, like putting something down and instantly forgetting where you left it? That's a sign of brain aging, and wild blueberries can be your ally here. These little gems are full of anthocyanins, compounds proven to fight oxidation, reduce inflammation, and even help repair damaged brain cells. I remember a 68-year-old gentleman who started tossing a handful of frozen wild blueberries into his morning Greek yogurt. After 3 months, he told me, "I feel sharper, more focused, less forgetful when reading or doing chores." And that matches international studies. Just 1 cup of wild blueberries a day after a few months can noticeably boost memory and focus. But the benefits don't stop there. Wild blueberries also improve blood flow to the brain and muscles, helping us walk steadier and lowering the risk of falls, a fear many people have in later life. Think of them as nature's daily brain and balance supplement. Alongside that, another group of foods deserves a place on our breakfast table: unsalted nuts like almonds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, and cashews. Many people think of nuts as just snacks, but for those over 50, they're like natural medicine for the heart and brain. Think about it. After decades of hard work, our hearts and blood vessels naturally stiffen. Yet, inside these little nuts are healthy fats, omega-3s, magnesium, and zinc, all nutrients that soften vessels, calm inflammation, and feed memory. I had a 59-year-old patient with high cholesterol who worried a lot about her heart. After swapping her morning pastry for Greek yogurt with walnuts and pumpkin seeds just a few months later, her blood fats dropped significantly. She even laughed and told me, "It tastes good, and I feel lighter, more energetic." Large studies around the world confirm this too. People who eat a small handful of nuts daily reduce their risk of heart disease by nearly 30%. For older adults, that's a huge difference because the heart and brain are the two organs that truly hold the keys to independence and clarity in old age. So instead of sugary breakfasts or empty carbs, why not enjoy some crunchy, natural, unsalted nuts? You'll be feeding both flavor and health from the inside out. And finally, let's come home to something simple and familiar: steamed or boiled sweet potatoes. No fancy packaging, no expensive price tag, just a humble root that has been a loyal companion of health for generations. Do you remember back in the countryside when just one hot sweet potato in the morning could keep you full until noon? Modern science now proves it true. Sweet potatoes are rich in fiber, vitamin A, beta-carotene, and have a low glycemic index. That means energy is released slowly, keeping you full longer and avoiding those exhausting sugar spikes and crashes. I recall a 63-year-old man who had developed type 2 diabetes after years of morning pastries and instant noodles. When he switched to having steamed sweet potatoes a few mornings each week, just after 3 months, his blood sugar stabilized, and he even lost a few kilos. He smiled and said, "Turns out what I once thought was old-fashioned actually saved my health." Sweet potatoes don't just give steady energy, they also support digestion, protect the heart, and nourish the eyes. One simple potato in the morning can feel like a small gift, helping you start the day light, calm, and healthy. My friend, after walking together through the common foods that harm us and the simple ones that bring priceless benefits, I hope you now see your breakfast with fresh eyes. Sometimes the path to health isn't about complexity, it's about choosing wisely, one small plate at a time. Take a pause for a second and ask yourself, what do you usually eat for breakfast? Is it a slice of white bread with some margarine and jam, a little cup of low-fat strawberry yogurt from the supermarket, or maybe a carton of packaged orange juice that looks so healthy on the outside? These foods might have been with you for decades, giving you convenience and a sense of comfort. But sadly, they also sit right at the top of the list of 6 harmful breakfast foods: white bread with margarine or jam, instant oatmeal, flavored yogurt, processed cereal box juice, and cold cuts or sausages. So what do they all have in common? Refined sugar, fast carbs, additives, and industrial oils. These things make your blood sugar spike and crash, trigger silent inflammation, and slowly chip away at your health, weakening your memory, your muscles, your joints, and putting more pressure on your heart. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly, building up over years of just breakfast. And one day, you suddenly realize you're more tired, more dependent on medications, and less independent than you used to be. But here's the good news: it doesn't have to be that way. You don't need expensive supplements or complicated diets. Change can start with something as simple as swapping out your breakfast. And that's why I want to share with you 6 powerful foods that can truly make a difference. Chia pudding beet smoothies, free-range eggs, wild blueberries, unsalted nuts, and steamed or boiled sweet potatoes. What makes these different? They're rich in fiber, high-quality protein, healthy fats, and natural antioxidants. These are the exact weapons that help us slow down aging, keeping our brains sharp, our hearts strong, our muscles flexible, and our digestion smooth. Now imagine a different kind of morning. Instead of white bread with jam, you start your day with a creamy chia pudding, topped with fresh fruit. Or maybe a bright red beet smoothie that wakes up your blood vessels. On another day, just a simple free-range egg lightly pan-fried in olive oil, paired with a sweet, fluffy steamed sweet potato. Add in a handful of crunchy almonds or walnuts, and finish with a few dark wild blueberries. Just picturing that already feels like nourishing your body the right way, doesn't it? I remember a 60-year-old woman who used to complain of fatigue, poor memory, and unstable blood sugar. When she switched her breakfast, ditching white bread and sausages for boiled eggs, sweet potatoes, and a few walnuts, the change after only 2 months was stunning. She came back with a big smile and said, "Now I feel energized. My memory is better. And when I go shopping, I actually remember what I need without forgetting halfway." That's living proof that food is more than just fuel, it's medicine for the body. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, once said, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." And nowhere is this more true than at breakfast, the very first meal that sets the tone for how your body works the rest of the day. Older folks often say health is the greatest wealth, but sometimes we unknowingly waste that wealth through small, careless habits like a box of cereal, a carton of juice, or a slice of white bread. In contrast, a bowl of sweet potato, a handful of nuts, or a simple egg can be the choices that protect your health and extend your life. So, let me ask you this. Are you eating breakfast out of habit? Or are you eating breakfast to live healthier every single day? The answer to that question could reshape the entire journey of your middle age and later years. And if change feels overwhelming, start small. Today, instead of boxed juice, eat a fresh orange. Tomorrow, swap flavored yogurt for plain Greek yogurt, topped with wild blueberries. After just a week, you'll feel lighter. After a month, you'll notice less fatigue and clearer thinking. And after a few years, you'll thank yourself for choosing the better path. Because health doesn't come from one big change overnight, it comes from small, repeated choices every morning. And breakfast, as simple as it may seem, is the gateway to a future of strength, clarity, and peace of mind. So here's the message I want to leave you with. Stay away from the 6 harmful foods: white bread with margarine, jam, instant oatmeal, flavored yogurt, processed cereal, boxed juice, and cold cuts sausages. Choose instead the 6 beneficial foods: chia pudding beet smoothies, free-range eggs, wild blueberries, unsalted nuts, and boiled or steamed sweet potatoes. Every morning is a chance to refresh your body, give it clean energy, and prepare for a vibrant day ahead. The choice is yours, and that choice will shape not just today, but the many years to come. So tomorrow, when you sit down to breakfast, what will you choose? A familiar habit that quietly steals your health, or a small change that gives you more joy, more strength, more memory, and more peace? The decision is in your hands, and I believe now that you know, you'll choose what's best for you.